In this video, we're going to look at motivation and content theories. And this is all to focus on leading and being leaders. Remember what a super leader is. It's a leader who inspires and gets extraordinary results out of their workers. How do we do this? Let's take a look at some of the theories involved in motivating people. Before we continue, let's just think about some questions. What is motivation? What strategies can you use to motivate someone? Are rewards always required to motivate someone? I encourage you to pause the video and think about these questions before we continue. Motivation is the inner force that accounts for level, direction, and persistence of effort expended at work. There are different types of rewards to try and motivate people. There are two types, which we can talk about here. Extrinsic, which are provided by somebody else, and there are intrinsic rewards, which are provided by themselves, inner rewards, during job performance. We could always think about the analogy of a dog. How do you train a dog? There's two types of motivators going on. The extrinsic one should be, or could be, giving them a treat. Intrinsically, they are providing themselves with this desire to please their master. Performance contingency, directly linking rewards and performance. So here are two rules that apply to motivation. Respect diversity and individual differences to understand what individuals want from work. And you could break this down. Think about yourself. What do you want from work? What motivates you to work harder? Rule number 2. Allocate rewards that satisfy both the organization and the employees. In a later video, we're going to look at what really drives people and how they think. So let's continue on into some theories about motivation. This is a very common one that we'll find in a lot of business courses. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Here, Maslow identifies motivators as being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different levels. Self-actualization needs are at the top, and esteem needs are also at the top. These are what we are considered to be higher order needs. On the lower side, we end up having lower order needs. Social needs, the need for love and affection, sense of belongingness, one's relationship with others. Safety needs, the need for security, protection, and stability. And at the bottom, philosophical needs, most basic of all human needs, the need for biological maintenance, food, water, and physical well-being. Well, I've gone from the top to the bottom. There are some key points to make out for Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There are two principles. Specifically, those principles are the deficit principle and the progression principle. Maslow proposed that lower order needs, the physiological, safety, and social needs, and the higher order needs, they end up following these principles. That 1. A satisfied need is not a motivator of behavior. And 2. The progression principle, that a need at one level does not become actuated until the next lower level is already satisfied. What that means is, we can't end up having the social needs met unless the safety needs are met. So we can't just keep on going up and achieve self-actualization unless all the other needs below it are satisfied. Number 2 is that a satisfied need is no longer a motivator for behavior. So if your physiological needs are met, that we cannot use that as a motivator. This is just one theory, a very common theory, which you'll see. In this diagram, we get to see how Maslow's hierarchy of needs may end up being applied to the workplace. Specifically, physiological needs would be the rest and refreshment breaks, physical comfort on the job, reasonable work hours. Safety needs, safe working conditions, job security, base compensation and benefits. Social needs, friendly coworkers, interaction with customers, pleasant supervisor. And then as we end up going up into the higher level rewards, these are the intrinsic rewards, which are determined from the person themselves. Responsibility of an important job, promotion to higher status job, praise and recognition from a boss, and self-actualization, creative and challenging work, participation in decision-making, and job flexibility and autonomy. It's important to understand motivation theories because we get to understand how people work, and we can try and get that extraordinary work effort out of our workers if we can make sure that they are motivated in the proper ways. This is just one theory, but there are many other theories that we're going to discuss. ERG theory. What exactly is this? Well, this is a new theory which was defined by Alderfer, built on some of Maslow's key ideas or theories. Instead of proposing the 5 different levels, Alderfer ended up coming up with 3. ERG, which is an acronym for the start of each letter in their 3 categories. E for existence, which contain the physiological and safety needs. R for relatedness, which are social. And G for growth, which would be your self-esteem and your self-actualization. Now, there's a really big difference between ERG theory. While we can classify these each into their different levels, what is the big difference? He did not believe in a hierarchy of needs. He believed that satisfied needs do not lose their motivational impact. In other words, if we're to end up still having our physiological and safety needs met, that he believed that they could still be motivational factors by possibly maintaining them. And number 2, he had something which was called the frustration regression principle. A lower level need can become reactivated and influence behavior when higher level need cannot be satisfied. So what we do see here is that you could end up having this satisfied and it doesn't move in levels like Maslow did, and that a satisfied need is still or can still be a motivator. Those are the 2 big differences. Similar in the ideas in their categories, but difference in how they approach whether or not they can go linearly or non-linearly. Here's another idea for a motivation theory. 2-factor theory. I believe Frederick Herzberg took a whole bunch of studies to try and create this theory. He believed that motivation was related to 2 factors of a job nature, those being satisfier factors, what turns them on to the job, and 2, hygiene factors, the things that turn them off of a job. So he ended up coming back with this idea, this motivational theory based upon studies, and he identified 2 things, being satisfier and hygiene factors. How do you end up motivating people at work? Well, he said improving satisfier factors increases job satisfaction, and improving hygiene factors by decreasing job dissatisfaction. So this is how he believed that you could motivate people at work. So here's some examples of some satisfier factors and hygiene factors. Satisfier factors: achievement, recognition for that achievement, responsibility, the work itself, advancement, and personal growth. Some of these things still closely relate to what we see in Maslow's hierarchy and ERG theory. Hygiene factors: working conditions, coworker relations, policies and rules, supervisor quality, wage and salary, so possibly being too low. So if we end up increasing these and decreasing the hygiene factors, that will have more satisfied and more motivated employees to work with. We end up having another one. So what you start to realize is that there's many different theories on how to motivate people. The acquired needs theory was created by David McClelland. Examine the needs using something called a thematic apperception test, short form TAT. The theory was based on developing 3 needs for 1. Achievement, the desire to do something better, to solve problems, or to master complex tasks. 2. There was a desire for power, the desire to control, influence, or be responsible for other people. And 3. There could be a need for affiliation, the desire to establish and maintain good relations with people. So where do we go with this? Well, these are 3 motivators of how we can try and push people to their next limits, to work harder. Here's the importance. People develop these needs over time, for which managers should recognize their needs as well as the needs of their employees. If we understand the needs, then we can try and motivate them in the right way to work harder. Work environments are then created in response to these needs. So if you're somebody who has a desire for power, or you want to move up, then you need to provide that need. You have to try and satisfy that need in some way, shape, or form, and provide them with the opportunity to do that. If you understand that the person is more about affiliation and building good relationships, then you need to design the workspace or environment so that you're satisfying that need. That will allow that employee to work harder through motivation. One of the things he came up with is, can anyone be a manager? And based on McClelland's TAT theory, a person has to have the need for social power and A person should not have high need for affiliation, as it may conflict with decision. For example, you may make a decision for the wrong decision because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. So that goes through a whole bunch of the motivational theories. Now, I would encourage you to think, which motivation theory do you think is the best one? What makes you think that? There are some theories which I go through in this lesson, and they resonate more with me. What do you think? Well, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. In the meantime, if you have any questions, reach out through email or drop a question into the Google Classroom. Have fun for now.